All right. Hello, Holistic Chamber of Commerce family. Welcome to today's Meet a Member segment where we're going to talk about 3 ways to prevent overwhelm. And today I'm talking to Alicia McBride, and I'm so excited because I actually got to meet Alicia in person when I was in the Philadelphia area a while ago. So it's a really good time when I can meet people in person that I've met online here at the Holistic Chamber of Commerce. Alicia is a leading voice for empaths today. She is the internationally best-selling author of I Feel Too Much and the Empath Effect. She's an empath and healer, holds a bachelor's in psychology, is a Reiki master, and a certified yoga instructor. Her calling is helping empaths and sensitive people learn to manage their emotions and experience relief from overwhelm and exhaustion. So, welcome, Alicia.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here. I'm excited to talk to you.
Yeah. So let's talk about what an empath is because some people may have never even heard that term and they don't even know if that pertains to them.
Yeah. So, an empath is a very sensitive person who takes empathy to the next level. So, when you have empathy for someone, you kind of feel for someone, you can maybe sort of see yourself in their shoes and put yourself in their situation and you feel for them. But an empath takes that to the next level where an empath feels your emotions inside of their body as if it were theirs. So if you're sad, I feel your sadness. If you're happy, I feel your happiness. If you're in physical pain, I could feel your physical pain. So it's very overwhelming at first. And you kind of walk around as this unaware empath, and you don't know that you're collecting everybody else's energies. So not only can you feel it, but you can collect it and you take it on and you think that it's yours. You think that someone else's problems are your problems. They're not. I promise they're not yours. You do not have to keep them. So in the beginning, it's really difficult. An unaware empath, your life is probably a mess, and that's okay. we're we're here for you.
So, like, what are some symptoms? Like, you have lived through this, so you know what like being a mess is like. But what would they be experiencing if they were taking on other people's stuff and not really being aware of it?
So, good question. So you're probably tired all the time. Um, you don't want to get out of bed. You're like chronically exhausted. Um, you may you may suffer from chronic fatigue, depression, anxiety. Um, uh, the list goes on, but things like that, because you're so overwhelmed and you're so exhausted and you don't know why, you don't know what is going on. um, so you're kind of a mess in that way. And it's okay to be wherever you are in your journey. My I love working with beginners, because you get that like initial realization that, oh my gosh, this kind of defines me, and this is what I've been doing for my entire life. I've been collecting other people's emotions, and you know, I suffer from major depression, and it's awful. And working through that and realizing that it doesn't have to be this way and you can let it all go, and it's just so much fun.
As we talk about this, people might be like, oh my God, this is a curse. I have this curse, this like plague that I have to get rid of. But I almost feel like, this is your greatest strength in
Mhm.
essence. It's just about learning how to understand it, but also utilize it in a very healthy, like setting boundaries kind of way.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So you're 100% correct. I think it's a gift for sure, but in the beginning, it just doesn't feel like a gift because it's so overwhelming. And I talk to a lot of people who think that it's a curse and who think, that's the worst thing that's ever happened to them. But it's not actually happening to you. It is who you are. So it's not like an outside force has created this super empathy inside of you. It's who you are. You can't change who you are on the inside like that. It's structurally sound inside your body. um, so you have to learn how to work with it.
Mhm.
It's not something that's going to go away. You're going to be sensitive forever, and there's nothing wrong with being sensitive. um, I
There's
work
nothing
with.
wrong with crying through all of the little animal, Budweiser, what is it, Super Bowl commercials.
No, there's nothing wrong with crying. Oh my gosh. I've had so many conversations. It's okay to cry. It is okay to cry. There's nothing wrong with crying. I cry at the drop of a hat. It's fantastic. It's a good emotional release. It's a good way to get it out. I mean, I'd rather cry than punch a wall.
Mhm. Yeah. All right, so let's get into your 3 tips. You have 3 tips for us today. So,
Yes.
tell us what you got.
So, how to handle overwhelm and exhaustion. These are my 3 favorite things. Um, the biggest things that you can do to manage your overwhelm and exhaustion. One is ground and protect your energy every day. Every day, ground and protect your energy. Connect. There are so many ways to ground and protect. My favorite way are visualizations. I actually have a visualization up on YouTube that walks you through exactly how to do it. It's very helpful. I love it. Um, so ground and protect your energy every day, and multiple times, even, especially if you're in the beginning and things are just piling on. It's so important to get that connection to the earth and the release of all the stuff that isn't yours, and the shield, the barrier between you and everybody else, so that you stop feeling everybody else's feelings. You need to stop feeling everyone else's feelings, at least temporarily, until you learn how to like control it, and then you can let people in, and then it's like fun to work with and play with. You'll get there, but the initial is to stop it from happening all the time.
Mhm.
So that's the first one. The second one is to practice self-care. Self-care looks different for everybody. The easiest way for me to get you to self-care is what brings you joy. What brings you great joy? So whatever your answer is to that question, that's the thing that's going to bring you the best self-care. Um, whatever that looks like for you, whatever brings you great joy, do that. Do that as much as you can, as long as it's healthy, uh, as long as it's healthy. Um, so you got to do what brings you great joy, and that's just one way to practice self-care. Um, but I think practicing self-care is incredibly important. You got to do things for you. I mean, you have to do things for you. Otherwise, you'll take care of everybody else at your own detriment, and you'll end up with nothing.
Right. I was part of a yoga program, and they had us like make a list of everything that brings you joy, like for self care purposes. And at first, I was like, oh, I know what I like, but it like I had to sit down and think about it, to come up with like 20 or so items. I was like, oh, and I ended up being a little bit creative. So maybe when you think of self-care, a lot of times people think, oh, I have to go get a massage or something, I have to pay money for. But you really don't. There's a lot of things that you can do, even like a self massage. There's plenty of things, taking a bath. There's a lot of things you can do for self-care.
Yeah, you know what brings me joy? Laying in bed. That's free. That's free, and I do that every night.
My poor husband, I'm always like sticking my feet in his lap. I'm like, rub my feet, rub my feet, rub my feet.
Oh, that's good, that's grounding. You're
Yeah.
you're practicing that grounding, another good grounding technique, rubbing your feet.
I find yoga incredibly grounding, and I know that you are a yoga instructor too. But I feel like getting on my mat every morning is just a way to help me ground and be present. So, like you said, visualizations and just breath work. There's all kinds of different ways to ground and care for yourself. All right, so number 3.
Number 3 is setting healthy boundaries. So everybody talks about saying no when it comes to setting healthy boundaries. But what does saying no actually look like? For me, it looks like turning off the news. For me, it looks like blank space on my schedule. And I know not everybody likes to see blank space in their schedule. So if you're that kind that doesn't that wants to see boom, 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 boom all day, schedule yourself self-care and that fill that blank space with nothing. Right? Right, do nothing. Or, whatever your self-care item is. Fill that blank space with self-care. But setting healthy boundaries looks like blank space in your schedule or the act of self-care.
Well, also saying no. I think a lot of times we're afraid to say no because we think, we're going to hurt somebody's feelings or it's going to come off as, being mean. But I believe we can say no in a very kind way, that states, oh, I would love to help you move this weekend. But I do have a lot on my plate right now, and I am, overly exhausted, and I just can't be present. It wouldn't be fair to me. It wouldn't be fair to you. I mean, nobody wants you doing anything for them out of like obligation and then like be resentful. So, oh, don't. Just tell me no. I can't do it. Okay, so we can say no in a kind way.
It's so much worse when you say yes and then you show up and you're miserable.
Yeah.
And you're just miserable. That's not good for you. It's not good for the person that invited you. It's not good for anybody else there. So it's just better to say no in the beginning. Like, you know what, my schedule is really full of all this blank space and I have to go lay in bed now. So I can't help you move this weekend.
Yeah, I don't recommend that route.
So you don't need to share all of your
Ever.
blank space and you're laying in bed.
Yeah.
But it's okay to say no, like, "Hey, I've got a lot going on." And even if you're a lot going on is blank space and laying in bed.
Do you find that you have to sometimes say no to yourself?
Yeah, yeah. Like, "Hey, okay, we don't need to do this either."
Yeah. Like, I don't need to, take on all of these 5 wonderful creative projects at
Mm,
once. Um, I can only focus on one. So I need to say no to myself. I get that way a lot because I am like, my monkey mind's everywhere. Oh, I want to do this and shiny object syndrome. It's like, no, no, focus. You don't need another course or program.
rein it in. Yeah, you should see my technique for that, for saying no to myself, is adding it to my to-do list. I'll just put it on my to-do list, and then it sits there.
Yeah. It's like, well, it's been sitting here for about a month. I think I can cross this off now.
Yeah, it's good.
Awesome. All right. So before we leave, you have like a newsletter. You want to talk about that? I'm going to put it in the comment box here. Like if for I guess people that are thinking they're an empath, you tell them what it's about.
Yeah, so, I call it my nourishing newsletter. It has heartfelt check-ins, it's cool. It only happens once a month, so it's not a super big deal. I'm not gonna bombard you with 50 bazillion emails. Um, it's it's real. It's directly from me. I enjoy writing it. So it's fun. It's cool. It's fun. It gives you additional information on being an empath and usually fun stories. It's just I don't know. It's from me directly from me for you. And
And
then
I totally recommend anybody who is listening to this that is new to the whole like empath thing and is that me to get Alicia's books. Which is the blue one behind you? Is that the one to start with? Because I've read them both. Yes, the blue one. And what I loved about it was very fundamental. It like broke things down and it was very simple and very clear. It doesn't go into like a whole dissertation about what it's very clean and very simple. So if you're like, oh, this might be me, I totally recommend you check it out. What is it called again?
so the book is called I Feel.
Can you like grab it and
Yeah, yeah. Here. So it's called I Feel Too Much, a how-to guide for the beginner
there we go.
empath. There we go. And it's 7 clear steps on what to do when you discover you're an empath. So I also have an empath quiz. If you go to my website, healinglightempath.com, you'll find all kinds of fun information there. So if you're thinking that you're an empath, you can take the empath quiz. You can get the book, I Feel Too Much. It's 7 clear steps on what to do when you figure out that you're an empath. And that's what I wanted. Like when I learned the word empath, I wanted somebody to tell me what to do. Like, what do I do about this now? Like what's next?
Mhm.
So that's what I was looking for in the very beginning. So after I went through everything and I learned everything I could possibly learn and I absorbed all the information in the entire world and it went through my brain and came out through my fingertips. That's how I Feel Too Much. That's a very short story on how I Feel Too Much was born.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for joining us today and sharing your wisdom on being an empath. People go get the newsletter and yeah, thanks for being on. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Thank you so much.